let me play an audio real quick, and then Supervillain and Charles Brooks. Actually, I'm gonna have Jordan's mom. She's a woman. I'm gonna play this audio, and then I'm gonna have her speak on whatever she wants to contribute to the topic. But let me play this audio. And when I play this audio, I want all the black women in the room. I want I want y'all to, like, answer this for me, okay? Because I don't have an answer, and I didn't really get a clear answer the other night either. So I want y'all to answer this for me, okay? Let me see here. Where is it? You told the man that I'm able to do all these other things and I'm not requiring you or want you to do any of these other things. All I want you to do is love and support me. Then me personally, and again, I'm speaking for me. These other men can answer on their own, but then my job, my obligation then would be to love and support you. But honestly, Peggy, I don't know too many women, especially black women, that are just looking for love and support from a man. Thank you. All right. No, I'm tired of this. You probably see us on social media. We are. Peggy, if we're gonna be just very genuine right now, we're not going, because we've been having a very genuine conversation. Are we not gonna? Are we going to acknowledge that black woman right now? That again, all the important stuff, all the stuff that's not superficial, is at the bottom of the totem pole for them. There are many of men that have all these other characteristics that y'all say that y'all want, but because they don't meet whatever financial standard that you set, you guys don't give those men the time of day. Let's keep it all the way. Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so to the black woman in here, is what I said in that audio, is that true or false? So all this emotional intelligence talk, all this emotional maturity, all this love, all this support, all this other nonsense that y'all say that y'all want, that there's a bunch of men out here that have all of those qualities, and will be more than willing, and will be that guy that you say that you ultimately want, but they don't meet whatever financial standards you have in your head that you want them to meet. You guys don't ignore all those men. You guys just don't, like, brush off those men. Let's talk about it. Jordan's mom, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. What do you have to contribute to the topic, Jordan's mom?
Okay, so to answer your question, my answer would be yes. To quantify my answer, let me say this. It for many women, including myself, for many women, how a man provides for us is also tied to the level of respect that we have for him. Now, this is not saying all respect, but a measure of the respect that we have for him is tied to his provision that's associated with us. I know, personally speaking, if a man cannot support me in the basic way, and that doesn't mean pay all the bills, but in the basic way, as in provide the home, the shelter, provide some basic things. I'm happy to bring up the rear and support. I will never pay 50-50 because that's a roommate, but I will definitely have his back. I will definitely support him. I will definitely pay extra, make sure our retirement is in order, make sure the insurance, the children, all the grandchildren, all of that is in order. Make sure we have vacations and savings and all of that. And if he should fall on hard times, I will bear the brunt of every financial obligation that we have while he can convalesce in peace. I will do that. But I must confess that how a man provides for me is tied to the greatest level of respect that I have for him. Someone who can't take care of me, I view them differently. And that's my honest opinion. That assessment does not mean that people who make less money than me are not equally valuable to me. It does not mean that. It simply means my preference is for someone to be able to do the basics. Because you can make $40,000 and pay our mortgage. And that's fair to me. I can pay the majority of everything else. But do you see the difference? The difference is he pays for what houses me. So he's providing that basic need for me. That equates my respect, the greatest level of respect that I have. Oftentimes we have to put things in the appropriate categories. Sometimes the women who are asking certain things, are not women who are fit to ask anything of anybody, including of themselves. And it's not fair to take their assessment and use a broad brush and put it upon all of us, because we don't all view it the same way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100 percent agree with you. But my question to you, Jordan's mom, is there's a lot of sisters out here that when you hear them talk about dating, when you hear them talk about relationships, when you hear them talk about men, they never talk about them in bad faith because they haven't had bad experiences. They may have had experiences that haven't worked out, but it's never been a situation to where they felt like they've only been attracting low quality, low vibrational, quote unquote, ain't shit men. So when it comes to dating, they don't have bad faith about dating. They're not out here saying, "Oh, the dating market is trash, this, that, and the third," because they're dealing with the caliber of men that they want to deal with. So my whole thing again, Jordan's mom, is these are the same women that say you are what you attract. But when it's time to talk about why they're not attracting the caliber of men they want, all of a sudden that goes out of the window. So my question to you is, why are some sisters not having any problem at all attracting and dating the caliber of men that they want, but all these other sisters are having all these problems?
I think the answer is very simple. I think that it's how you present yourself. If you want, let me say it this way. I was taught that to have a friend, you must first be a friend. The same thing applies with a partner or a spouse. To have a good partner or to have a good spouse, you must first be that. And sometimes people want what they are not themselves. And instead of examining their own behavior, making an adjustment, they project onto the people that don't want them. And that's for men and for women. All of us could do well with a dose of humility. All of us, men and women. We have created a market, all of us, where being shallow, we're being pretty, we're being cute, matters more than the substance of your character. But my father has a saying. He says that every woman that he ever dated was a penny until he married her, and then she became shiny like a nickel. Sometimes you have to take the time to polish up something to see what it can truly be. You have to look at the core of the person. And if they're a decent person, you may be able to partner with them and build something. But when somebody is clearly shallow, clearly materialistic, clearly self-serving, and you deal with that person because you want them, because of how they look, or because of how they make you feel, you cannot complain about the circumstances you find yourself in when they walk away.
Okay, let me say one more thing, Jordan. I want to ask you one more question before we go to the next speaker. I don't know how old you are, ma'am. I'm 26 years old. I have relationships with a lot of different women, but a lot of black women, women that I communicate with on here, women that I communicate with on here, off of here, and women that people on this app I have relationships with that people don't even know. And one thing that's been very common amongst black women is that they say that they're not interested in building with a man. Notice how I said building with a man, not building a man, just building with a man. I've been saying as of late that a lot of these women, they don't really like see much value in or even deem the average man worthy of being in a relationship with. Like, there's women that are stocking the shelves at Walmart and Target right now, but they don't want to be in a relationship with a man that's stocking the shelves at Walmart and Target across the city. They feel like they're better than him. They feel like they deserve a man that's working in corporate finance. They deserve a guy that's a partner at a law firm. They deserve someone that's a partner at a CPA firm. They deserve a surgeon, a physician, an engineer, a chemist. They deserve just whatever man that they deem to be top of the line. They deserve it. And simply because it's what they want, they think they deserve it. They don't think that, these men have any standards. They don't think they have to like qualify for these caliber of men. Them simply being women is enough. So my question to you is, again, I don't know how old you are, but I've just told you, because these women have said we've seen what our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers went through, and we're not going to subject ourselves to the same thing. So a man needs to already be established. He needs to already damn near be at his peak before we see value in him and deem him worthy of being in a relationship with. And like I said, there are a lot of men out here, Jordan's mom, that have all these other qualities. They have this emotional intelligence that you all love to harp on. They have this emotional maturity. They're loving, they're caring, they're respectful. They'll appreciate this woman and treat her well. But simply because he doesn't make a certain amount of money, a lot of women are not even interested in him. So my question to you is, and I don't know where you're from, but from the women, from the black women that you've dealt with in your life, or that you've been around, that you've seen and heard talk about relationships, um, have you heard that same thing? Do you think that a lot of women nowadays even believe in certain men having standards for women and them need to qualify? Like, where are you on all of that?
I would have to say that it hasn't been my experience to hear that in a widespread way. But let me see if I can give you my point of view.
Sure.
Let's say that each woman is a car. Okay, we're going to have 4 cars. We're going to have an SUV. We're going to have a hybrid car. We're going to have a Fiat, and then we're going to have a Jaguar. These are the 4 cars. Look at the type of people who would go for each car. The person who will go for the SUV will be the person most likely who has more than one child, because he needs to transport a family. The person who would go for the Jaguar would be the person who was the higher earner. The person who would go for the Fiat would be the person who is climate friendly and economical. If a woman was either one of those cars, it wouldn't necessarily be her determination who goes for her, would it? It would be who can afford her and what the reasoning is. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because if women are going to be judged by their body count, how many children they have out of wedlock and all of that, when you are at your optimal position, 24, no children, you have a job. You may not be the best job, but you're 24, pretty, no children, fit, all of that. If you're at your optimum, are you not the Jaguar? And as the Jaguar, a certain type of person is going to come for the Jaguar. It's unfortunate that we live in a time and in a place when that's how it works. But isn't the truth that we have to face that it's always been this way? It's always been this way, because when it boils down to it, it really is the woman's choice. It's just that once upon a time, the woman who was 24 and pretty and fit and had a job was more open to the guy who had potential. That hadn't always worked out for us women very well. So now the woman who's 24, fit, pretty, with potential, and has a job, now she's raising the bar because she doesn't want to end up like the other people that she has seen. It's unfortunate. It truly is. But wouldn't a better strategy be for the men who want the 24-year-old to elevate their game, to make the most of the opportunities available to them, to improve their situations? And then you become, sir, the person looking at the Jaguar. I know that it sounds harsh when women say it. And some of the women who say it, they have ulterior motives. Sometimes they're shallow, all of those things. But sometimes in this life, we have to own the truth, as harsh and as cold as it may be. Women, a man said to me a long time ago, she who has the P makes the rules. And while that may very well be harsh, I think that there may be some measure of truth to it, because someone said men hold the key to marriage, and women hold the key to sex. If we're not giving up anything based upon getting this certain type of man that we want, can anyone really hold women at fault for that? I don't operate that way, but I think that, well, maybe I do in some respect, because I'm only going to go so far below where I am. Because then I feel like remember I said it erodes the respect you have for the man if you go so far below where you are, because you want him to be able to do some bare minimum things. And if he cannot, then that means he's simply not a candidate for me. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. You have to find the person that you are a candidate for. Period.
Okay, let me say this one last thing, Jordan Mom. Then you can rebuttal, and then I'll go to the next person. I hear what you're saying, but if we're just gonna go off the analogy that you used, if we just want to use these car analogies, there's clearly a lot of women out here that think they're the Jaguar. They think they're the Lamborghini. They think they're the Rolls Royce, but real life is not giving them those results. So if real life is not giving them those results, then they really are not the Jaguar. They're not the Lamborghini. They're not the Rolls Royce. They're not the Ferrari. And that's where I think the problem that's where I think the problem is coming in. I hear what you're saying about men elevating, but men tell to be honest with you, most men are going to tell other men that. Most men are not going to lie to other men and tell them that there's someone that they're not, or there's something that they're not, because I think men are very much more based in reality. But at the end of the day, the woman doesn't get to decide what vehicle she is, Miss Jordan's mom. The same way how much people value a company determines how valuable a stock is in the stock market. As both men and women, we don't get to determine our value. You can be as self-confident as you want, but at the end of the day, the dating market is what determines your value. As a man or a woman, you can think in your head that you're this, that, and the third, that you 1, 2, and a 3. But if the dating market doesn't think that's what you are, then that's not really what you are at the end of the day. So my whole thing is, there needs to come a point realistically where you either accept your fate for what it is and accept the fact that you're not what you are, and you haven't put in the work to be what it is that you've tricked yourself to believe you are, and you don't want to put in that work. Or you need to go back to the drawing board and do some reconnecting of the dots and say, like, okay, I'm not getting the results that I want right now, because insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So if you're not getting the results that you want at the end of the day, at some point there needs to be a pivot. There needs to be some reconnecting of the dots to say, let's do this and see if I can get a different outcome. But you're not that Lamborghini, you're not that Jaguar if you're not getting those results in real life, man or woman.
May I ask a question though, sir?
Yeah.
With your permission. Much of what you said is accurate, but let me ask this question. Sometimes, isn't it possible that two things can be true at the same time? The woman can indeed be the Jaguar, and some man can find her to be his Jaguar.
What is the criteria for a Jaguar though? What's the criteria?
Okay, sir, if you'll permit me to finish talking to the host, I'm happy to answer your question, sir.
Oh, my bad.
Two things can be true at the same time. A woman can consider herself to be a Jaguar, and a man can consider herself to be a Jaguar. While we're quantifying who she is and what her worth is, some things are evident. Remember, I said, the example I used, she was 24, she was fit, she was pretty, no children out of wedlock, only one previous boyfriend. By the standards that we use, you know what I'm saying? That is in the Jaguar category. It may not be the Jaguar fully loaded, but
You're
it's
missing a major trait that most wealthy
but
men
I'm not,
like. You
sir,
haven't mentioned it.
I'm not speaking to
Hold
you.
on. Yeah, let her finish.
I'm
Let her
not going to
finish.
argue. This was the example that I put forth for the host. So what I'm saying to you, sir, is this. I go back to what I said previously. Unfortunately, this is how it has always been done. The difference here is that I have begun to see how it looks from the man's point of view. It's very unfortunate. But when there are, as you said, more women than men, maybe the lady who's the Jaguar, you know what I'm saying, will have to make an adjustment. That's possible. But doesn't she have the right, or can't she take the time to see if she's pulling Jaguar people and then make the adjustment? I'm not differing with you. I'm just saying give her that window where she can call herself the Jaguar. And once it doesn't work, as you said, then she can make the adjustment. Can we agree on that part?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
but yeah, but I mean that's what I said, Jordan's mom. Like, I
And,
mean,
and and that's why I'm telling you, I didn't disagree, sir. I did not
right.
disagree.
Yeah, right. Anyone can think, any man or woman, they can think whatever they want. But like you said, at the end of the day, real life results is what matters. So, but what, and I'm gonna say this, and then we'll go to the next person. I think, like, reality is gonna hit reality is gonna hit men a lot faster than it is women, and men are gonna be much more accepting. Of the reality. I don't think men are gonna wait around years. Because at the end of the day, Jordan's mom, basically what I'm trying to say is someone that's really a Jaguar is not gonna be saying that they're attracting low vibrational, low quality, ain't shit men or women. They're that's just not going to be their experience. If they're the top of the line, if they're the cream of the crop, that is what they're going to be attracting at the end of the day. So they're not gonna have bad faith like all these other women have. And what a lot of these women have done, Jordan's mom, is they've taken their bad experiences. They've shown the whole world. They get on here and embarrass themselves and show the whole world that they have horrible decision making skills, like a lot of other women. And they've lied down with the wrong men. They've opened their legs for the wrong men. They've had babies for the wrong men. And then they want to generalize and categorize it as all black men are the type of black men that they've dealt with. And that's a problem. I don't
I,
see
I
men
could I,
doing that.
I can certainly agree with you, sir. I just have one question to
Sure.
clarify. Um, do you ever window shop?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, so I think that when you talked about the low vibrational men, I don't think that has to be the experience of the Jaguar, but I do think that a low vibrational person can go to a Jaguar lot and take a look at the cars. That's what I
They
mean
can
when I say he can take a look at the cars. Doesn't have to buy anything or whatever. So, and sometimes the person can come into your orbit, but you don't have to choose them. You can choose better. Other than that, I agree with everything that you said. I think that we sometimes as women don't own the poor choices that we make. And I think sometimes we are even delusional about our current circumstances. I can completely agree. I can completely agree that those things happen.
George's mom,
But
can I ask you a question?
those people are not they're not the totality, you know what I'm saying, of the women on this app.
George's mom, can I ask you a question?
I think you wish to argue, sir. I don't want to argue.